Hello, it's Tishy and me, and it's party time. Today we have a new president. Right now, the inauguration is going on TV. Well, the inauguration ceremony was a few hours ago, 4 hours ago already. And they're doing a parade, only it's funny because it looks like the president and vice president are more like the parade and everyone else is kind of watching. So, anyway, it is time to celebrate. And so we're not going to get real probably serious or anything today because we are celebrating. Now, I made myself a special snack today. No, I don't know what I'm going to do about her. But she just had a treat. I just want you to know this because she's not going to be happy when she sees I have something and she doesn't, because what I have, she wants. Anyway, you have to know it burned a little because I was in a real hurry getting it put together, but it is the greatest snack and you are going to want to make this like for Super Bowl Sunday. So again, I apologize. It's a little burnt because I was in a hurry and I forgot to switch it to oven. I left it on toaster. But these are little um kind of a taco bowl snack. It is, I'll take one that's not too burned. That's okay because I like brown food tastes good. That's what Ann Burrell says. Um, it's called scoops. They're by Tostitos and they're little tiny tortilla cups. And I have inside refried beans, and I topped it with cheese, and I topped that with some fried. They're you can buy them in a little packages. They're fried jalapenos. So, and you could dip it in salsa, but I don't have any, and I'm not going out to get any. So, yes, it is a wonderful. Cheryl says a happy inauguration day. I say that to all of you. And she said the youth poet laureate was amazing. Yes, she was. And it's a good thing to have the range of people that presented and the youth and the arts. The poet was never a part of it. That's a whole new thing. So that's really exciting. And it was good to have all colors, all ages. Too cool. And I'm happy about it. So I'm going to taste my treat, okay? Let's see. Mmm. Mm, 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 mm. Now, you could put some ground taco meat on top if you wanted to. You could put the salsa right on top if you wanted to. These are working for me very well. I'm probably not going to be able to eat more. So if I'm not eating, I can't talk. But I want to talk a little bit about we're celebrating. And while we're celebrating, there's a lot of people that aren't celebrating. Just because we're having this happy day doesn't mean that people that we know and love are all happy about it. So the big question is, how do we move forward? Mm, I'm letting you think about that. Mm, mm. Well, if you remember 4 years ago when we weren't happy, we were told by those we know and love, suck it up, buttercup, or deal with it, snowflake. We were also told, give him a chance. Well, we didn't have any other choice than to give him a chance. And for me, it did not turn out to be very good. There was, to me, bad news every day, disappointment every day, fear. Um, I think disbelief would be a good word because I just couldn't believe what was going on. And I couldn't believe that we walked through fields of smoking guns where they were all impotent, nothing manifested from hard and dry proof. So it was so not in alignment with who I am. And because of this, as this new, you know, campaign and election cycle worked out and everything, now we got a different president. There are people even in my family that I can't talk to about it. And I bet there's people in your family or your circle of friends that you can't talk about it. And how do we maintain those relationships? Got to have more. Mm. Number one, do not say suck it up, buttercup to them. I don't care if they said that to you 100 times. Two wrongs are never going to make a right. Okay. And think about things, try to find some kind of ground that you can build on. Okay. Remember, even if we're not seeing each other because of COVID or because the relationship actually fell so far apart that we can't reach out to them, there's birthday cards, Valentine cards, different ways that you can, in fact, reach out and just keep that presence going despite what happened. And I stand by the same thing. I won't argue about it. I'm not gonna say mean things to anybody. But I would like for each one of us to kind of think, are you happy today or are you upset today? We also want to be aware the very real threats that were there 2 weeks ago that broke into our capital, that's still there. Oh, hang on a minute. I just have to look outside. We're having some very high winds. I may just disappear all of a sudden. Jalapeno knows. And if I do, that's why. Well, I'll take a break from my snacking. But I will have a sip of my celebratory afternoon wine. Here's to our new president, our new vice president, and a future that lives up to the words of the inauguration speeches. Very nice. So, yeah, so now that it's over, though, like we say, the threats are still there. But she's watching cat TV. So sometimes I go in and I think she's upset and she's actually watching cat TV and howling at the birds or the chipmunks or the squirrels. She has a favorite of squirrels. She likes them best. But anyway, where was I? I think I was trying to talk to people. Oh, now that it's over, number one, the threats are still real. Number two, what happened happened, and we have to figure out what is going to go on in the aftermath, what we think should go on. Number three is the mess that we're in. We have to analyze that. We have to, Dr. Phil would talk to someone who was divorced and say, let's do an autopsy on the marriage. You take it apart and figure out why it didn't work. And I think that's something that would be good for us to do. What would you change? Because we've come through such a tough place, we don't want to just say, okay, well, Biden's in, we're good now. He may do things we don't like. How are we going to handle that? How are we going to find our oneness in diversity? Because we are all different. I really wanted to surprise you today with a basic civics quiz, but there's nothing you can print out online. And I didn't want to flip back and forth to the typical online things. I may put one together for tomorrow, I may not. But so for us, I think one thing that's real important is that we educate ourselves in how government works. I did not get a lot in civics class, and I'm gonna be honest, I hated it. I hated it. And I would like want to ignore it altogether, but you can't when the teacher's sitting in front of you. We were not taught well. We were not taught in a fun way. And I'm only hoping that kids today get taught in a much better way. Well, there's Schoolhouse Rock. Is that amazing? With all the education we got, Schoolhouse Rock was the best thing we had going for us. Um, yeah, and Cheryl says, yeah, hopes we move forward with civility and positivity. And I think that's real important. I think that we want to keep in mind um, what we are building. It's that don't throw the baby out with the bathwater thing, because there were a lot of mistakes that we made, and as a country, I'm talking back from the beginning. The country's made up of people, and people are flawed, and most of us are the cause of our own problems. We are. So how do we get past all that and not cause those problems? The biggest challenge we have right now is ignorance and ignorance. Ignorance meaning you don't know. Ignorance means you don't want to know. But you don't care. And then there's stupidity that doesn't know and doesn't care and doesn't want to care. And I know stupidity is a hard word, but that I'm talking principle here, not person. I'm not blaming anybody. It's another thing. Okay, I'm glad Biden won. All right. And I'm glad that the Trump administration is over. And if you're a Republican, I'm sorry, but it's not about Trump. It's about what he said and what he did. So it's about the thoughts, words, and actions, which were causes that he put into action, and the effects that brought, and they were really painful. So, see, that's the thing. When we think we're two parties or four parties or whatever, we want to know that we all, and that we heard. I love that we heard that over and over again today, whether it was from the poet laureate or from the preachers or from the president or the vice president or even Mitch McConnell. We want to work toward being the oneness we were meant to be. And amongst other things, we have to look at how do we hold the people who tried to take over our democracy, hold them accountable without further destruction, without further erosion of our values. And how do we learn to awaken other people? Well, we're not going to force them. So I think the best thing is, if if you can try to keep your relationships going. Okay, the voting's over, inauguration's over, it's done. Can we now get back to being a family? Can we now get back to being civil to each other? Can we look at what we love? Can we share what we love? Can we, so that's kind of where we want to go. You know, Sometimes we wonder, like this past, actually it was 5 years, because I counted the whole year of campaigning before the election in 2016. These 5 years seemed like 20 in hard labor, because every day was bad news, every day was bad news, every day was harmful, every day was hurtful, and there was little to be feeling good about. You wake up and there's this dragon hanging over your face. How do we get past that? Well, now we think we're happy. How long will we stay happy? What's our part in it? That's the clue. Think for a second. If you could change things, no, 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 you're not going over there and looking at my snack. No, you're not. You had your snack. That's my snack. Um, what are the things that you would like to see changed in the government? If you want to pop in any comments, I will give you a second to do that. Matter of fact, I'll give you a second to do that, and I'm going to take another bite of one of my treats. Very good. Mm, mm, nice treat. Mm, party time. All right. I don't see any comments. I hope you have some comments in your own mind. What would you change about our government? And how can that be done? One thing I would change is, and it looks like it's happening. Joe Biden's very intent on the cabinet reflecting the people. I'm a minister. In our churches, we say our board must represent, it must reflect the congregation. If your congregation is a third people of color, there should be third people of color on your board. If you have people that have different lifestyles, there should be a representative of a different lifestyle on your board. That if in a government that's of, by, and for the people, the government should, there are representatives, they should represent us and who we are. So that's one thing I'd like to see different. I'd like to see a lot of things different. My big move, now that this is all over, and before we start this freaking nightmare again, um, I would like to see money out of politics, or the presence of money, or whatever. It's got to be reined in, and I'm not alone. And that's where issue one, which I'm getting their emails now, so I'm knowing more about them. Issue one is something that I'm looking at because they're working on balancing. Let's see, what does Anna say? I'd like to see a nice couple, husband and wife, govern the country. Hmm, that's going to be kind of hard to find, but I think we got pretty close to that right now with a male and female. So we have male and female energy, and that's real important. But we also remember, and this is an interesting thing about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Um, it, Joe Biden has got he's got a gentle spirit, so and yet he's a man. He's a man's man. He's got the male energy of protection and provision. He also has the loving and nurturing. On the other hand, Kamala Harris, female, has got the loving and nurturing part as a woman. And I forgot what it is that she says her family calls her. It's Mama something. Her kids, her grandkids, and stuff. But she also has a very good hard side. She's a prosecutor. She knows the law and she knows how it should work out. So you see that wonderful blending. It's all about energy, but they're just two people. We are the ones who abdicated our responsibility as the people. We did not hold anybody's feet to the fire. And so it's time to make sure that we do that. Don't make it about personality, make it about principle. Okay. On that note, enough politics. I'm done with it right now. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to enjoy this moment where I'm happy with who's in charge. I'm praying knowing I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm not going to hopefully have that kick in the gut that I've had for so long. Well, we're getting past that. We're still going to be talking about relationships and stuff. I'm going back to the book of questions and see if you maybe I can find a question. See, these are ways that we can talk with our families about things that really matter, or things that are interesting, or getting to know them better without it being about politics. Okay. Let's see. I got to find a good one because some of these questions are real harsh and I can't ask them. Okay. Okay. Here's a toughie. Oh my gosh. Do I use this book much? It's kind of old. All right. Here's a question. If you went to a dinner party and were offered a dish you never tried, would you want to taste it even if it sounded strange and not very appealing? Hmm. That's a hard one, isn't it? Well, of course, for me, and do feel free to pop your comments in. For me, because I'm a vegetarian, I would have to make sure it didn't have any stuff in it that is not a part of um my diet. My diet is a very spiritual thing to me, and so I try to avoid meat. Meat products, I still do cheese, I still do dairy, but I cut back. I'm moving. And if they had, oh, National Calendar Day. And today, it is National Cheese Lovers Day. Woo-hoo! And if they had a really good vegetarian cheese, I would be all over it. I try to get whenever I can um, the plant-based culture cheese, which is it's not with any animal product other than the milk. But they just don't have any really good vegetarian cheeses. If they come up with one, I'll be all over it. But also, as a vegetarian, I am very familiar with that question because people will say to me, "Oh, I made this just for you because you're a vegetarian." And then I have to look and go, "Oh." And sometimes there's stuff in there that does not appeal to me, like mushrooms. Not a fan. If they're chopped up real fine and I can pretend they're not in there, I'll deal with it. But things with big chunks of mushrooms, oh my gosh, hard for me. One day, a friend of mine was very excited because she made me a vegetarian meal, and it was lasagna, and it was filled with hard-boiled eggs. Now, I eat eggs if they're mixed up and stuff, but I don't like hard-boiled eggs. And here she was with this beautiful lasagna with big chunks of hard-boiled egg. Well, of course, I held my breath and swallowed the pieces of egg. So far, I've managed to at least eat some of what people have given me. Last year, I know I've shared this before, but it's always worth repeating. Last year, I um, I decided that every week. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Cancel. Hang on a minute. I almost shut it down by accident. I was trying to see if I was missing any comments, and I am. Um, all right. So last year, I decided to try to have the eat something different every every week. So every Sunday, I would have dinner, and I would have my Sammy's her husband. Sammy's passed away, so it was her husband. He would come over for dinner on Sunday nights, and we would have something different. And it was quite an adventure, and it was pretty good. Um, uh, Jackfruit was an absolute loser. So was zero pasta. Ugh. I mean, there's things you can like deal with even though you don't like it. What was it I had the other day that I dealt with but I didn't like? Oh God, that sausage. I ate what I could. I could not eat anymore. But yeah, so that's a really interesting thing. You don't want to hurt your host family feelings, but you got to be honest. If you don't watch out, they're going to make it for you again because they knew you liked it so much because you didn't say you didn't like it. Think about that. All right, that was fun. Now we've got a few minutes left. After we're done, I'm going to go play with Tristan. We're going to do Play Doh. I just got us all some new Play Doh because I like it. And so let's get a little light. Oh, Mamala. Yeah, that's what she's called. Mamala. Thank you, Cheryl. You always have the answers. Okay. All right. So today we're going to do some 70s trivia. We did it before. I was going to do 50s. What's on the other side of this? I'll tell you what, let's do some 60s. So I, at that time, was 15, even though you probably maybe even weren't born yet. I think there's residual things that passed down during history that have to do with it. Let's see. Okay, this is a good one. And if you can pop in an answer, pop in an answer. I'll give you a few minutes, a few seconds. If nothing shows up, I will give you the answer. So in 1964, Jack Ruby was convicted of murdering which other accused assassin? In 1964, Jack Ruby was convicted of murdering which other accused assassin? Another bite while you're thinking. Hmm. I don't see anything coming up. Okay, that would be Lee Harvey Oswald. Yep. Okay. Um, this is one that's hard. Let's see. If you don't know this one, you need to go back to school. Who was assassinated in November 1963? I don't see answers popping up, but I'm sure you know it, and it's just taking a while to get through. Yeah, see my my computer, my internet's slow. But so of course that was John F. Kennedy. And if you have not seen it, Stephen King wrote a fascinating novel about it, 11/22/63. And I generally don't care much for Stephen King's things. I find them violent and challenging. You're right, John F. Kennedy. Um, but if you get a chance, it's a long book on tape. It was 35 hours, but they had a 3-night mini series, so you could always look that one up. That was worth a look. Okay, movies. Um, okay, I'll bet you know this one. Which actor won the Oscar for Best Actor for his role in the 1962 film To Kill a Mockingbird? Which actor won the Oscar for Best Actor for his role in the 1962 film To Kill a Mockingbird? Cheryl says she was 5 years old when Kennedy was assassinated. And I was 15. But and most of us that were on the planet at that time that were over 5 years old, that were adults, or I was 18. Yes, you're right, Anna. Gregory Peck. Cha-ching. Very good. Okay. All right. Let's see. Who played the role of Norman Bates in the 1960 horror movie Psycho? I wonder if he's still alive. Ooh. No, Sidney Poitier. That was for Psycho? Or Gregory Peck? No, okay. To Kill a Mockingbird was Gregory Peck. Um, okay, the Norman Bates in the 1960 horror movie was Anthony Perkins. And guess what? We are overtime. Well, I was overtime getting in, so I'm not really overtime. But I know that my little cub is waiting to play today. So, oh, I'm going to go over a few minutes, okay? What I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about time. We're over time, so I want to talk about time. And as we stay on the light side, it's real important to know these things if we want to have if we want to remember our past as on the light side instead of saying, I wasted my time. This says take time out for 10 things. Take time out to work. It's the price of success. Take time out to think. It's the source of power. Take time out to play. It's the secret of youth. Take time out to read. It's the foundation of knowledge. Take time to worship. It's the highway to reverence. Take time to help and enjoy friends. It's the source of happiness. Take time to love. It is the one sacrament of life. Take time to dream. It hitches the soul to the stars. Take time to laugh. It is the singing that helps life's load. Take time to pray. It helps bring Christ near and washes the dust of the earth from our eyes. I'm going to see if I'm going to see how long this is because that's a little bit long. But this is I'm not going to do a story every time, okay? But this was a story that related to the time, and I wanted to share it with you today. So it's called The Clock Was Ticking. The clock was ticking as the overweight, disheveled construction worker guzzled beer and chips while staring at the television screen, living vicariously through the characters on the screen, the dreams he'd once had for his own life, slowly slipping away. The clock was ticking as the mother rocked her newborn baby, immersed in the fragrance of baby powder and the sweet scent unique to newborns. She basked in the commingled spiritual energy of her child with her own. She quietly prayed for a wonderful future for her child, yet wished this moment would never end. The clock was ticking as the soldier crouched in his foxhole, every muscle tensed. He awaited the command of his leader, loving peace, hating war, and fearing death. The brave young man stood committed to fighting for what he believed in and the people he loved. Poised for battle, he prayed for peace. The clock was ticking as the curtains slowly began to rise, and the budding ballerinas' hearts began to pound with a combination of anticipation and apprehension. The moment they'd been waiting for, the moment they'd worked for, the moment they had dreamed of had finally arrived. The clock was ticking as the devoted daughter sat at the side of her dying mother's bed. She stroked her mother's hair, feeling as if time was standing still. But the ticking clock reminded her of time's passing and the inevitable loss she would soon feel. The clock was ticking as the aging actress floated in a haze of anesthesia and illusion, trying to beat the game of life. The plastic surgeons worked diligently to erase the lines the passing of time had etched on her face. She is oblivious to the fact that this is a game she cannot win. The clock was ticking as you entered the earthly realm, filled with promise and potential and dreams. It has been ticking since before you were born and will continue to tick when you have left this life experience. Like the click-clacking wheels of a train, trust it in the direction of its destination. So the tick-tocking of the clock hurls us toward our destination. To what? That is yet to be seen. We can stop the ticking of the clock, but we cannot stop the passing of time. The blessing is we can choose what we will do with that time, how we will think and feel about it, ultimately bringing us to a destination where we can know as we disembark that we enjoyed the ride. Tick, tock, tick, tock, clock's ticking. It's time for me to go spend time with Tristan. I hope that you enjoyed the time we spent together. I know I did. So until I see you tomorrow, have a bright, beautiful, better than average day. And for those of you who are following along on Rise of the False Gods, I'll see you at 10 tonight.